This is one of the rarest plays you'll ever witness on an NFL field.
85% of the targets to Shakir completed. This is behind Cooper, who brought it in, pitched it back to Allen, who's going to go to the goal line and get in! No!
Wait, what did I just see? A player throwing a touchdown and catching a touchdown on the same play? That's not just rare, it's mind-blowing. This moment sent shockwaves through fantasy football leagues across the country, bringing pure joy to some and utter heartbreak to others. To put this in perspective, this feat has only been accomplished twice before, once by Marcus Mariota and once by Brad Johnson. But of course, Josh Allen just doesn't stop there. Plays like this are just the tip of the iceberg in a season where he shattered records and redefined what elite quarterback play looks like. This is a graph of all the quarterbacks this season, ranked from statistically the worst to the best. On the x-axis, we have the adjusted estimated points added per play. Simply put, this measures the difference between a team's expected points at the end of a play versus at the beginning of it. On the y-axis, we have adjusted net yards per attempt, which evaluates quarterback efficiency by factoring in passing yards, touchdowns, interceptions, and sacks. We start off with Will Levis at the bottom of the barrel, reflecting the abysmal season from the Tennessee Titans. Followed by that, we have the Young Bucks, Anthony Richardson and CJ Stroud, with Caleb Williams not that far behind his big bro. Next up, we have Russell Wilson, Trevor Lawrence, and both Aaron Rodgers and Bo Nix having nearly identical seasons. As we keep moving forward, we see both Jaden Daniels and Jalen Hurts playing better than Patrick Mahomes this season. And at the top, Joe Burrow and Baker Mayfield are having career years for themselves, albeit their team records don't necessarily reflect it. Then we go to the top of the mountain, and what do we see? To no surprise, Jared Goff and Josh Allen have been leading the pack, playing out of their minds, propelling their team to incredible levels on the field, and breaking records while doing so. Josh Allen in particular has etched his name in the record books with a historically great season, one that might never be matched. His incredible performances have elevated a Bills team with clear weaknesses in other areas, keeping them competitive despite injuries, roster changes, and tough matchups. Week after week, Allen delivered in the biggest moments, putting his team on his back and refusing to let them falter. Whether it was making impossible throws, escaping defenders who had him completely surrounded, or bulldozing his way into the end zone when the Bills needed him the most, Allen was a one-man wrecking crew. He was the kind of player that made the impossible feel routine. The kind of quarterback who could take a broken play and turn it into a game-winning moment. And then there's Lamar Jackson, alone at the pinnacle, comfortably sitting ahead of everyone else. What Lamar has accomplished this season is nothing short of sensational. After winning the MVP in 2024, it's shocking to see just how much better Lamar has become compared to both his past self and the rest of the league. When we compare Lamar's season to Josh Allen's, Lamar comes out ahead in nearly every basic statistical category. Completion percentage, passing yards, yards per attempt, yards per game, passing touchdowns, interceptions, rushing yards, the list goes on. It seems as though the only area where Josh Allen has an edge over Lamar is scoring on the ground. Lamar's 119.6 passer rating ranks as the fourth highest all time in a single season, trailing only Aaron Rodgers in 2011 and 2020, as well as Peyton Manning in 2004. All seasons where these quarterbacks won MVP with overwhelming shares of the vote. But Lamar's greatness doesn't stop there. He's rewritten the record books this season, achieving feats never seen before. 4,000 or more passing yards and 600 or more rushing yards, 40 or more passing touchdowns and 800 or more rushing yards, 40 or more passing touchdowns and fewer than 5 interceptions, a reigning MVP with at least 40 or more passing touchdowns the following season. In addition to these unparalleled achievements, Lamar's dual threat capability has redefined what it means to be a quarterback in the modern NFL. His ability to dominate both through the air and on the ground has not only made him the most versatile weapon in the league, but also set a new standard for future generations. He's the only player in history to finish a season ranked in the top 6 in both passing and rushing yards for his position, a testament to his unmatched athleticism and skill. Furthermore, his efficiency has reached unprecedented levels, as he's posted a touchdown to interception ratio and rushing efficiency that no quarterback has ever come close to matching. These records aren't just statistical anomalies, they're a reflection of Lamar's complete mastery of the game this season. And that's why Lamar Jackson should be the MVP of the league. Well, not so fast. It's not quite that simple. Lamar's main argument against Josh is that he's better statistically, except for the fact that this isn't entirely true. This battle between these two juggernauts has really made me question what matters most in a player? What makes someone truly valuable? To answer this question, we have to understand what the most valuable player really means. According to the Oxford Dictionary, the term most valuable player was first used in 1891, 15 years after the formation of the National League, the first professional sports league in the world. However, it wasn't until 1911 that the concept of formally awarding an MVP gained prominence. Chalmers created the Chalmers Award, the first MVP honor in sports, as a promotional tool to elevate the visibility of his automobile brand, particularly the Chalmers Model 30, and to associate it with excellence and prestige in Major League Baseball. The Chalmers Award recognized the most valuable player in each of MLB's two leagues, the American League and the National League, with the winner receiving a Chalmers automobile, a highly prestigious and valuable prize at the time. This innovative marketing strategy linked athletic achievement to the brand's identity, highlighting performance and prestige, qualities Chalmers sought to mirror in his cars. It helped his company stand out in a competitive automobile market and paved the way for formal MVP recognitions across professional sports. Over time, the MVP award in baseball evolved to be associated with the baseball player who is the greatest all-around service to his club, solidifying the concept as we know it today. The idea of an MVP eventually made its way to professional football. In 1938, the National Football League announced its first ever MVP award, the Joe F. Carr Trophy, named in honor of Joe F. Carr, a pioneering league president credited with shaping the early NFL. This award marked the beginning of a tradition of honoring the league's most outstanding players, which has since evolved into the modern NFL MVP award, presented annually by the Associated Press. Today, the MVP title in both baseball and football remains the pinnacle of individual achievement, symbolizing unparalleled performance and value to one's team. Dan Orlovsky brings up a phenomenal point. Numbers without context are just that, numbers. If we chose the MVP solely based on statistics, we might as well let a computer decide for us. The Buffalo Bills, with Josh Allen as their starting quarterback, averaged an astounding 2.92 points per drive, a figure that ranks in the top 10 historically in the NFL. You don't achieve that without a 1,000-yard running back or a 1,000-yard receiver. And the Bills only had James Cook, who barely managed to squeeze by with only 9 yards over the mark. To orchestrate a historically great offense without those key contributors highlights just how extraordinary Josh Allen's performance has been. Consider this, despite their historical offensive production, the Bills have only 2 players headed to the Pro Bowl. In contrast, the Ravens boast 9. The value of a quarterback who can elevate a team with a less talented roster to the 2nd seed in the AFC cannot be overstated. Josh Allen's impact is further underscored by the fact that he defeated both number 1 seeds in each conference. While Lamar's touchdown to interception ratio of 41-4 is undoubtedly impressive, he actually has more total turnovers than Josh Allen. In fact, Lamar also has more negative plays overall. Josh Allen is the first player in NFL history to record over 40 touchdowns while committing fewer than 8 turnovers and taking fewer than 20 sacks. The combination of production and efficiency, measured by the minimal negative plays such as sacks, fumbles, and interceptions, is unprecedented. This level of performance, achieved without the benefit of elite players like Derrick Henry or Zay Flowers, demonstrates Allen's incredible value and cements his place in the MVP conversation. In all forms of competition, whether it's sports, academics, or video games, there's one ultimate goal: winning. Winning isn't just a result, it's a measure of excellence, a reflection of dominance, and the ultimate testament to a player's impact. It's the driving force behind every game, every play, and every decision. But it begs the question, what does it take to win? What stats tell the story of victory? And more importantly, which number best captures the impact of the most critical position in all of sports? The quarterback. This curiosity led me to an eye-opening study, a deep dive into what truly correlates with winning in the NFL. Using data from the past 5 seasons, the study analyzes quarterbacks who played at least 7 games in a given season, looking for the stats that most strongly predict win percentages. They examined the full spectrum of metrics, expected points added per play, expected EPA per dropback, ESPN QBR, completion percentage, yards per attempt, touchdown percentage, interception percentage, PFF grade, passer rating, and adjusted net yards per attempt. To determine the relationship between these stats and winning, the study calculated the R-squared values for each statistic against a quarterback's win percentage. For those unfamiliar, a higher R-squared value indicates a stronger correlation between a stat and winning, essentially how much influence that stat has on determining the outcome of games. For example, the graph of EPA versus win percentage shows a clear trend. Quarterbacks with a higher EPA per dropback consistently led their teams to more wins. Now, when we look at the R-squared graph comparing all the stats, two metrics stand out as the most closely correlated with winning: EPA per play and ESPN QBR. These numbers provide the clearest picture of a quarterback's ability to contribute to team success. Armed with this knowledge, I revisited the data and regraphed all the quarterbacks from this past season. What do we see? The trends are undeniable. We start out in a similar pattern, with CJ Stroud followed closely by Caleb Williams, both proving their potential as the future of the league. Players like Bo Nix and Trevor Lawrence are still shown to be having similar seasons, standing out for their consistency, showcasing seasons that they were steady and impactful, while Aaron Rodgers now shows a huge dip, exemplifying the down year that he actually had. Moving up the ladder, Jalen Hurts, Jaden Daniels, and Joe Burrow all delivered stellar performances that translated into team successes, with Burrow leading the others at a new height in QBR. And then positioned all the way to the right, we see Jared Goff, reflecting his exceptional regular season performance for the Lions and solidifying his place among the league's best this year. But then there's the pinnacle, the elite tier, where only the extraordinary reside. Lamar Jackson, as expected, is still right at the top, but this time he's not alone. Josh Allen is right there with them, standing shoulder to shoulder in a display that showcases not only his incredible individual season, but also the razor-thin margin in this year's MVP race. For Josh Allen, this season has been nothing short of monumental. Josh Allen's placement at the top demonstrates how he's managed to consistently excel in advanced metrics, leading the Buffalo Bills to one of the most productive offensive seasons in NFL history. This wasn't done with the help of a 1,000-yard rusher or a 1,000-yard receiver, but rather through his singular ability to make plays, drive his team forward, and generate results under pressure. The fact that Allen's EPA per play and QBR match or exceed the league's best, all the while playing with a roster that has glaring weaknesses, underscores the sheer weight of his contributions. This is where the MVP debate becomes fascinating. Lamar Jackson, the reigning MVP, has continued to redefine the quarterback position with his dual threat dominance and efficiency. He's breaking records, setting new standards, and leading a Ravens team loaded with Pro Bowl talent. Meanwhile, Josh Allen, operating with far fewer resources, has delivered a historic season in his own right, carrying his team to success against all odds. His ability to outperform expectations, dominate in high-pressure games, and rewrite what we thought was possible for a quarterback puts him on equal footing with Lamar. The fact that both these quarterbacks are at the very top statistically in team impact and narrative shows just how close this race really is. On one hand, you have Lamar, who's putting up one of the greatest seasons ever seen by a reigning MVP. On the other hand, you have Josh Allen, who shattered preconceived limits and delivered an all-time campaign for a team that desperately needed his brilliance to stay competitive. This isn't just an MVP race, it's a debate that pits historical dominance against unparalleled value, and it's a lot closer than what anyone might have thought.